So this is a Japanese console, and as you can expect, some of the menus are in Japanese, but a lot of the games will play in English, especially if you put a USA or English game into the system. It'll play generally in English, but some of the sub-menus are in Japanese, or instructional parts of the game, and definitely parts of the boot sequence of the console are in Japanese. So our aim is to just modify it internally, make it English, and probably not go back to Japanese, to be honest. So let's have a look what it does. So I've just got it running through a basic upscaler. So it's just composite going through a HDMI upscaler. So it looks good on this monitor, but you'd get a better result on your TV. Some things are English, which is pretty good, like the button labels. But what if we go into the memory and have a look? Yeah, see, that's all in Japanese, right? So not the best. It probably says like, memory save slots and erase this and that sort of stuff. But let's try and convert all that to English. Okay, so let's put a game in. I'm going to put in Samurai Showdown 2. So shut the lid. Example, right? It probably says reading CD, please wait, or something. Yeah, now it says push start down the bottom. So it's those sort of messages I want to get rid of. Okay, so there we go. So we've got this yellow banner in Japanese, but everything else is in English, so it's not too bad. What if we go down to how to play? Yeah, see, this is typical. A lot of these menus of the how to play, like instructional parts of the game, are in Japanese. So there's a really good example. We're going to come back and look at this part of the screen once we've converted it. So to open these up, it's really quite straightforward. Just flip it over and there's just 4 screws, one in each corner. There is an attached ribbon, so you kind of have to slide the thing around and keep that intact. You can disconnect that if you want, but there's no real need for what we're doing today. The CD mechanism is here under the lid. That's all working in this case, so I'm not going to touch that at all. It could be quite sensitive, so there's no need to touch it. What we need to do is look at this part of the board, and I have actually looked at these a long time ago, so I'm sort of familiar with it, but I've just got to refresh myself on what to do. Okay, so there's a little table over here, which I'll zoom on, and that refers to the jumpers here on this side here. So we just need to set these jumpers into the right combination. So let's have a look at the table. I'll just unplug this wire here just to give you a better look. We've got 3 options basically. We've got Japanese mode, all jumpers open. We've got USA, 1 jumper closed. And we've got Euro mode, which is probably 50 Hertz English. 1 jumper, so that's interesting. I would have thought Euro would have taken 2 jumpers, would have taken that 1 and 2, like English and 50-60, but it looks like it doesn't. There must be some built-in logic going on. But for us today, we're in Japanese mode, so all 4 jumpers are going to be open. We'll take a look at that in a second. And we just need to close jumper 1. So let's do that. Let's just have a look. Yeah, okay, so if you look at the jumpers here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they've got resistors across them, so don't worry about the resistors. That's actually something different going on. The jumpers are actually that line in between that goes from, say, there to there, right? And they're unpopulated. So that's what it means on that table when it said X. It means open. So we need to close jumper 1. So all we're gonna need to do is run a jumper wire, or a leg of a resistor or something, from that hole to that hole in there. So we could actually poke it down from this top side and just solder it at the bottom. That would actually be quite tidy. Or we could solder it from the underneath. It doesn't really matter. Now, you could also put a switch on this. Control that jumper with just a switch, either open, like not connected the way it is right now, or in the other position it'd be closed, and it would complete the circuit, and it would be like putting the jumper in place. So or something. You can mount it probably up on this back panel or something. There's plenty of room right there. But for right now, let's unscrew this board, flip it over, and we'll solder on some wires. So it looks like we've just got screws all around the edge and on the controller ports. So I'll go ahead and take those screws out, and we'll come back and we'll flip the board over. The 2 points we need to touch are actually here and here. I'll step you through what to do. So let me zoom you right in close. So we know that we need jumper 1, which is just below the resistor. So it's on the top of the stack here. The top 2 pins are for the resistor. We don't need to touch them at all. It's the bottom 2 underneath that we do. And they're obviously the other jumpers just below, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, they go across like that. So this is a ground plane. You can tell that because it's really thick and chunky. And they're all connected on this side. So what we're effectively doing is grounding these logic pins, which go into this SNK chip. And there must be logic inside that then goes out off and feeds language or frequency to the main processor down under the board. So let's just jump that one across, and we should get English or USA mode. So to do that, I think it's easy just to run a small jumper wire, just a really small gauge wire straight across. So and a bit of flux, I guess, if you want as well. So put a bit of new flux across those holes. I'll put a bit of solder on now. Let's do this outside one first. It's pretty easy. So I'll just put it in place. And just tack it in like that. So that's probably all we need to do. We can ISO it and clean it off as well. That never hurts. Just wipe that down with a bit of ISO and a plastic brush. Don't ever use a metal brush. It's not a good idea. So that will do fine. It's not a structural joint, it's just an electrical joint, so don't be too fussy. Just put that wire back in place and we're good to go. I think that's all it's going to take. So I won't actually screw that board back down right now. I'll just put the case on and I'll give that a go. So make sure that's all sitting as it should. All right, same game. Same everything. Just plug him back in. Plug in the controller and off we go. So let's have a look. So we'll just wait for the game to load. There you go. Wait for a moment. There you go. So we're already getting an English translation on the menu, which is fantastic. Okay, so it's read the disk and that's ready. But before we go into the game, I just want to go back to this memory manager and have a look. And there you go. That's excellent. So backup memory utility and all the options. So that's exactly what I was expecting, and that's fantastic. So that looks like the mod's fine. That's working as expected. Okay, and there we go. So straight away you notice the yellow bar isn't there in USA mode. That's interesting. It doesn't really matter, I guess. How to play. So let's see if this is in English or still in Japanese. There you go. Beautiful. B button, medium attacks. So that's awesome. Okay, so that was exactly what I was hoping for. Translation of the instructions. That's perfect. So that's it. It's that simple to make an English mod to the Neo Geo CD. So that's it. I'll go ahead now and screw that back together. But that's pretty much the video done. Just a nice, quick and easy one today. It is the Easter weekend for me, so I've had a bit of time to do some more things. And you know what? I thought I'd make a quick video. I've got a lot of videos that I want to make. Some I've already started but haven't finished. There's a lot of things going on. I don't have as much time as I used to, so videos won't be out as often, but I will continue to make them as I have time. Just out of interest, this is a Japanese console, a Japanese power supply. I had a step-down transformer for this particular console. You could easily convert this console to run off local power. It's not difficult at all. It's a bit more unusual because it's a 3-pin and it actually has 2 different voltages on it. If you look here, it's actually got 5 volts and 10 volts, and there's a little diagram for that. So, you know, it is a little bit more complicated, but what I would do is simply put a normal common jack on the back, like a 5.5mm jack, and I would feed a 9-volt power supply in, which is going to be completely fine. And then internally, I'd run that 9 volts straight to, you know, where this sort of 9-10 volt comes in off the back of the pin. But I'd also run a voltage regulator, like a high quality regulator, like a buck converter. I'd run the 9 into that, and I'd get 5 out, and I'd run the 5 out to the 5-volt pin. And that way one power supply can control both voltages. The only caveat with doing that is you'd need an external, the brick power supply to have enough current to drive both voltages. You'd need probably, I don't know, we'd have to measure it, but you'd need at least 2 amps, I would say, probably maybe 3. I know this one is, it says it's 2 amps on the 5-volt rail and it says it's 1 amp on the 10-volt, but you know what? They kind of say that, but it probably doesn't actually consume that amount. So you could experiment. That could be a video for another day if you want to see that. But it's pretty straightforward. I don't know if that's very interesting, but you know what? Yell out if you want to see that in the comments. It's an easy video for me to do. I could easily convert this, and then you can just get rid of the step down and just run off local power and do it that way. I said it'd be really easy. So that's the Neo Geo CD. How to modify it for English. Potentially how to modify the power. Job's done. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.